Well, good morning and welcome to Etangs Chantereine's back lake. And this is first blood for us over with a group of lads on a little bit of a filming social. So you're going to see plenty of people hopefully around the lake over the next couple of days. But in front of us, well, behind the camera, 37 acres of stunning French woodland lake. And with this as the first fish of the session, looks like we're in for a nice start. A bit of an unknown venue. Andy's kindly invited us down to do a bit of fishing and kind of see what's in here. It's not fished by many and it's certainly not fished by a group of 6, which we've got around the lake at the moment. But fingers crossed, this is the start of plenty more to come. Week in France, not a bad start to the week.
Fish number 2. Finally got a few under our belt now. Spots are starting to pick up bites. Generally through the night as the temperatures have been 30 odd degrees. Squid and plum pop up doing the damage as always for me. Ronnie rigs. Little bit of bait over the top. We're having to use the boat because the weed is quite thick. But the rewards are coming. Hopefully we can nick Chantereine a few of the bigger ones.
Second fish for me within the last couple of hours. I managed to find a close range spot and they're producing the goods.
Cracking common, my first fish. Squid and plum pop up over a load of ultra nut. Yeah, lovely looking fish. Give me the run around in the margin, but yeah, happy days.
Well, as with every video, it's time for the bait chat. Now, these spots that we've had, that we've talked about, have changed a lot since we've been here. They've got bigger, they've flattened off, and that's purely because of the amount of bait that's gone into the holes. The fish feed in, us playing the fish has obviously reduced that amount of weed. So, bait, you know, it's one of those things that you can use as and what you want to, which is really, really good. So we have gone with use what you want, really. So, around me you see a vast array of different baits, and essentially we're just making a massive cocktail of baits. These fish haven't seen an awful lot of bait, so any bait to them is going to either sort of be something they're scared of or something they're going to want. So the idea of mixing boilies, particles, pellets, loads of bits and pieces with all their natural liquids as well means that there's a buffet out there for them and they can pick and choose. And then the hook baits that we're presenting over the top of them mean that they're not spooked by one particular hook bait over this sort of huge carpet of baits. So we start off, we've got buckets and buckets, and Darren's cut this at home, of rapeseed. And I said, I'm not going to make up a big mix because we've got a big mix made, but I want to show you really the sort of ins and outs. So that's the base, is loads and loads, tiny little particles, carpet feed, is stuff that the smaller fish are going to get involved with, peck away at that bottom and clear that spot for us. So start off with that. Then we've got a few different sort of particles. This from Carbon Baits, the Dark Side mix, full of, yet again, rapeseed, chopped bits and pieces in it. It's all small particles. There's maples, there's loads of other bits and pieces, and we're putting big old scoops full of that in there as well. And then we get on to sort of a small pellet. So we've gone for, yeah, again, the spoons look silly really, but the old CR bag mix. Yeah, again, it's a small particle. It's something that the smaller fish are going to want to be attracted to, but when it breaks down, it creates a carpet across the bottom. So that's making up the base of it. The small, finer particles, the bits are going to fall through the weed, get to the bottom, flatten off the areas, and that the smaller fish are going to want to get involved with. On top of that then, ever faithful golden grain. It looks silly in a little can, but we're doing it per mix, per spot really. So we're working out how much of that sort of yellow we're putting in Dan's using double corns, I got double corn on the rogs as well, so it's a different hook bait option. Then moving into the chunkier stuff, and I don't think any French trip is complete if you can use them. A good old handful of tigers. These are quite large ones, and what they allow is they allow a hook bait option if we wanted to change to them. But yet again, there's something that stays there. They can't get eaten by the smaller fish, so they stay on the bottom at all times. And then ever faithful CR2 fish meal, really heavy, really smelly, and that's soaked up in the matching liquids, so that draws that in over the session. We started out with freezer bait and then moved over to shelf because there's nowhere to store the bait, and that's yet again a big particle, a heavy particle. It's going to get down and it's going to sort of flatten the bottom, but it's something that stays on the spot. So that's a brief sort of overview. The way that we're applying the bait is when Dad's putting the rigs out, he's hand placing bait directly over the top of those spots, a big heavy clump, and then spreading a little bit around the sort of perimeter. And what that's allowing is draws the fish in, and yet again, as we keep going back to, it's flattening that area. The spots when we started were bucket lid size, they're now sort of half bivvy sizes. Doesn't sound like a lot, but for hooking the fish and getting the fish homed in on that area, there couldn't be a better way to bait. So I'm not particularly saying that's the only bait you could ever use. You might go all tigers, you might go all boilies, but I think that mix of smaller, finer particles and then the bigger, bulkier stuff means there's stuff that stays on the spot that only the carp can eat. There's stuff that smaller fish can pick off and chew, but also the carp are going to be attracted to that. So it's a good, healthy mix. You know, it's bits and bobs, it's loads, there's colour in there, there's flavour, there's attraction, but on top of all that, there's different ways and means of making that spot more active, more attractive, and the fish seem to be loving it.
So look, plenty of work's gone in so far. It's not an easy lake, but when the rewards are as good looking, black and beautiful as this. Okay, not the biggest fish in the world, but 26 pound. I've worked my butt off for this. We've lost a few, we've landed a few, we haven't shown to the camera because it's just getting the rods back out on the spots, fishing the area, trying to keep the bites coming. Fresh rigs on, dropped, plenty of bait. They're loving the CR2, few tigers, bit of particle, plenty of liquids, and hopefully we can get in amongst some of the bigger residents of this lake. Wednesday evening. You haven't really seen much of us, but there's a lot of work involved. Boating rods out, getting bites, boating, fishing. Today obviously you see the nice 33 pound mirror we had, cracking fish. We've had a few other nice fish, some we haven't put on camera, but it's just a fact of getting the rod back on the spot, trying to catch some of the lake's gems. They're not the biggest fish in France, but the character fish, they are stunning. It's been hard work, I ain't gonna lie, but we've persevered. The spots, we have done bites on every rod. It's We haven't seen much the last couple of days, but we've still managed to nick the bites, keep coming off certain spots. A couple of the rods have died a little bit, but we'll change that maybe tomorrow, see where it goes from there. Just wanted to get you all update with what's going on, and hopefully you'll see another one of the lake's big uns in the net tomorrow morning. We'll see you then. Well, finally, mid 30-pound mirror from the back lake. It's not been easy by a long shot, but when they look like this, I know they're not the monsters everyone comes to France for, but this place has got a future. A few more years, these fish are going to be absolutely sought after. Really pleased with this one. Me and John have worked extremely hard, persevered with losing fish, finding spots, finding new spots, changing hook baits, just finding what they want really. We're putting the pieces together, stringing a few bites, and when you land them and they look like this, it's definitely worth the effort.
Another crack in the Etangs Chantereine mirror for me. I moved both rods onto the short spot, and it is finally paying off now. I just wish I had seen the spot a bit earlier, but oh well, another night to go. Good morning, this is fish number 3 for me. It's been quiet the last few days, but the close range spot finally produced the goods, and hopefully there's more to come. Well, what an end to our session at the Etangs Chantereine. The fish have finally moved in to me, and I'd like to say thanks to Andy for having us down for the week, and Rich the bailiff. We finally managed to get a few. But yeah, on to the next one.